Hello and welcome to Evolve Yourself podcast. I'm Lahaina. I'm a confidence and freedom coach, and I'm your host. This is a space that I can share my learnings, life experiences. I like creating thought-provoking conversations in a variety of topics, from healing to coaching modalities to health hacks and entrepreneurial tips. This is a space for inspiration, sharing, learning, questioning, and exploration to lead you to your next breakthrough and the path to evolve yourself. Today, I want to talk about something that might not be very mainstream yet, might not be very well known, might be very taboo, and you might have all your opinions and reactions to it, but stick with it. I'll share as much as possible. So today I'm talking about Bufo Alvarius, or 5-MeO-DMT, as an entheogen. So if you have been following me here, you know I've been sharing about my spiritual and personal development journey, which might give you access to new information. You might be curious about some of these topics. You might be calling you. You might want more information. That has been my intent for this podcast. And if you have been following me, I have shared my experience with ayahuasca, which is plant medicine, hallucinogenic, but used for very spiritual purposes, and I've been using for my personal development journey. So for me, using plant medicine really helps me in sometimes letting go of my identity, the things that I'm normally trying to control, my ego. And using this sort of substances can really help us go a little bit deeper in our emotions, our subconscious mind. So if you want to go back to listen to my ayahuasca podcast, that could be really helpful to start understanding more about this sort of plant medicine and how it can be very powerful to implement in your spiritual and personal growth. So let's talk about 5-MeO-DMT. So this is one of the most ancient entheogenic substances documented. And if you go back, there is evidence in ancient burials in South America dating back to hundreds, if not thousands of years. So it's nothing new. It just has not been mainstream in our Western society so far. It might be coming, as you might know that ayahuasca now, a lot of people are talking about. It became more mainstream, but maybe 10, 20 years ago, no one was talking about. So DMT is getting more attention now. So although this has been used between indigenous tribes, it was brew. So this DMT, it was a brew concoction of several plants. And it's been called ayahuasca. And for perhaps hundreds of years, it has now been used among Westerns as a large and, like I said, relatively recent phenomenon. So DMT is one of the components of Bufo Alvarius and 5-MeO-DMT. So what's also part of this particular substance is from the Colorado River toad, or Bufo, or Entheogen alvarius. So it's the venom of the toad, right? So the toad secretes this 5-MeO-DMT as a major constituent of its venom. And so for the natural molecule, you would have to milk the toads. But obviously that can be very cruel, very dangerous, especially if there is, no laws around this. So there's literally no legislation on how this has been done. So there are practitioners that use this venom and in self-styled shamanic ceremonies who claim to do so responsibly. But again, there is little to no oversight to ensure any ethical harvesting. So for many people, and including myself, the introduction to this molecule was provided through a synthetic version. And, to be honest, a molecule is a molecule. So obviously they have been able to replicate that in the lab, and we don't have to use the animals in order to get the results. Okay, so getting into the actual experience. So this can only happen within a referral system. So I was invited by someone close to me that had experience ceremony, and it was really funny because this person said a few times, and by the third time I was like, yeah, I want to do it. So I was sitting with myself back then thinking, do I want to do another ayahuasca ceremony? Do I want to sit with psilocybin, some pedro? There are lots of different options. They all will provide you with different experiences. Some can be more grounding, some can be a bit more spiritual. So this was completely new topic for me. And that's, again, why I want to share it with you guys, because you might never have heard of this. So Bufo, I think, is considered the father of the, plant medicine. For me, I think is the highest experience that you can have. So it is considered the most intrepid experience, and only for the very brave. Yes, so it does provide you with some of the more, I don't know, deepest, meaningful inner work that you could ever think of. So the substance itself obviously is not going to solve any problems, any deepest emotional difficulties or PTSD or anxiety, or answer all your life questions. But it might as well give you some really strong, solid foundations for you to get, again, in a very much deeper level of your inner work and your personal self-transformation, if you have already been on this path. So I wouldn't suggest to anyone new to personal development and spirituality. This is a very intense process. And again, I'm here to share with you my experience. You might start getting familiar with this ceremony plant medicine, but it is important that you know what you're getting yourself into. It. There is a lot of preparation. So I've been doing personal development for the last 5 years. I've been on my spiritual journey for a few years. Again, I have sent with other plant medicine in different ceremonies. And I feel like I have a really good support system to talk about this sort of, so coming back from ceremony to do a lot of integration and have people to talk about this. So this is really, really important. Again, a disclaimer that I'm only here sharing from my own experience. This podcast is my way to share some of my personal experiences with you guys to, again, open up conversation about different topics. So going back to 5-MeO-DMT, this is one of the most powerful ego-solvent available, and is said to be able to create an experience of death, or at least ego death. So it has the capacity to make one experience highest intricate functions of the unseen universe. So I'm getting some words and information from some of the websites that you can get proper information from, right? So yes, you might feel like you're part of the unseen universe. And if you guys hear me or follow me, you also know that I like to talk about we live in the matrix. So I actually think that we are living in a kind of like simulation, alternate reality, right? So there's a whole new conversation about quantum physics and all of the things that we can talk about related to living in the matrix. But let's go back to the experience. So it's definitely not for the casual seeker or someone looking for a drug experience or someone that doesn't have any preparation to sit on this very, very profound sort of ceremony. So again, like I said, there is a leading process to it. There was like an interview, a lot of journaling, setting the intention, setting myself up with my body, with what I'm eating, with my mindset, because it is, a very intense process. So the powerful effects of 5-MeO-DMT is said to be a very powerful ego-solvent. So there is that sort of death experience, and it removes your attachment to the me, I, me, mine, and you kind of become one with the universe and everything. So that's the most amazing part of it, right? So the experience, I'll share with you guys my experience, but again, going back to the more practical ways to share with you from the information that I'm getting, is that again, there can be that feeling of death, which is sad, that one feels like they approach the void, which is literally like a blackout, but you are not blacked out, passed out, you're still there. So there can be fear of dying, there can be fear of letting go, of control, there can be so many things that come up at that very moment. So basically, to use the medicine is you smoke on a pipe. So as soon as you smoke, it literally takes about, 2 seconds, and you see everything fading in front of you, and you fall into this void, this blackness. But I really love the explaining, which is, it's a void space, but it's not empty. It's a blackness, but it's not dark. It's colorless, but at the same time, there is a very bright color light. So it's so hard to actually explain in language the actual experience itself. So there might be feelings in the body that the heart stop, and even breathing seems to cease. I did experience those. And again, for me, it was just like, wow, what is happening? It's coming from that place of curiosity and being like, this is something I have never experienced. I don't know if I will experience ever again in my life. So yeah, I think I'm feel very blessed to be able to come across this sort of spiritual experience that, again, it wouldn't be possible just by my day-to-day, meditation or personal development experiences. So it is called also the oneness meditation, and it can create a unitive experience, as someone experienced being part of everything, being part with the universe. And there can be that sense of, wow, everything is connected, every person, everything in this world, in the universe, a sense of source of being, which I also felt, which is like, wow, I am God, right? Because if everything is connected and everything is everything, I am everything. So that, again, is one of the most profound things that I could have ever experienced. So the experience itself can take from 7 to 20 minutes, and then you start to return to your body, which can feel quite uncomfortable, even animalistic. It's almost, again, like the soul is coming back to the body, which, like having that awareness of, again, like, I have a body, it can be very intense. It can create a sense of euphoria. I did have that. I had laughter and crying and so many feelings, all of the feelings, but a lot of joy. I remember like joy that, yeah, again, maybe I've never experienced in that way in my body before, and my emotions. So I'll share with you guys my personal experience. I did have 2 ceremonies this year, one in February, one maybe in October. And they were quite different. So again, I can sit here and explain to you hours and hours, but if you decide to go ahead and if you decide to sit with this medicine, I could never in a million years describe what's going to happen to you. So again, that's why the preparation and the leading to it, and even managing expectations, is so important, because everyone's experience will be completely different, right? So early in February, or was January 2022, had my first experience. I wasn't expecting anything, to be honest. I was quite open-minded, and I was like, whatever happens will be fine. Just kind of, that sense of really let go any expectations. So what happened was, as I smoked the medicine, I completely blacked out. I don't remember any of this. A lot of things that I've described to you guys, I didn't experience at all. I just remember coming back to my body and like waking up, and I had so much joy and bliss, and I don't know how to explain. It was my whole body was vibrating and pulsating. I felt like I was energy. It was not that there was energy through me. I was energy. I was electricity. And I remember maybe from when I passed out, it was just that sense of everything is light. Everything is a big like explosion of light. And I did have that feeling like I am God. I am part of the source of the explosion that created everything that we get to know and see and experience today. So it's almost like the Big Bang, right? So if you think about, we are all part of the same particles because we all started from the Big Bang. So yeah, when I woke up, I had so much like joy and love and bliss. I don't even know how to put into words. I was crying and laughing all at the same time. And I remember saying, this is what it is to be alive. Like I straight away, I felt confronted with the fact that we walk around like zombies. We are literally just checking out. We don't know what it is to be alive. We're completely disconnected. Again, I never felt that sort of joy and bliss and happiness in my body from normal day-to-day experience, because I do think we're so checked out from our emotions, and we're so disconnected from this fact that we are all one. We have God inside of us. So that was my first experience, and I thought I was there for maybe 5 to 6 to 7 hours, and it actually, I don't know, between the first meeting and what happened, the actual experience and then the after experience, maybe I was there for an hour and a half. So again, you lose complete track of time, which is so unusual again for us these days, that we always have a clock, we always on the clock, we always rushing and running and trying to sort everything all at once. Then for my second ceremony, it was quite different. So I admit I did have a little bit of expectations that it was going to be similar to the first one, and it was not. So basically, I remember everything on the journey. I actually had, so the first time I had 1 pipe. This time I had 3 pipes, so 3 different journeys. And it was what I was trying to explain to you guys before, which is really interesting. If you are into spirituality and meditation and some other practices, you might have heard the word samadhi, which is the state of consciousness, right? So that's what I was trying to explain before, is neither nothingness, but it's not empty, is not blackness, but there's no darkness, it's not colorless, but there is color. So again, it's so hard to put into words. I did have those feelings, like I share, regarding my heart stopping and my breathing stopping. And I remember laying down, I was like, oh. And the main take here is, as with everything else in life, I think, is the letting go of control. So letting go of the expectations, the control, and the anxiety. And I remember coaching myself, and I had those moments of being aware of what's happening and just saying, just relax. You came here, you asked for this. So again, if you're facing any situation that is really confronting to you, the more that we try to keep control, the harder you will get, the more you feel like you're going against the current, right? So I remember in those moments that it can be really scary and confronting, because again, it could feel like you're dying. I knew that I was there for a reason, and I chose to be there. And so I was coaching myself into it. Just let go, just surrender, just enjoy the process, right? And every time after ceremony, when coming back, I had those feelings of like moving my body a bit like an animal, which again, we don't do often these days, and it can be so liberating. And a lot of crying and laughing and thinking this is all a big joke, right? When we say, there is a saying that the big universal joke, something like that, it did feel like that. I'm like, this is all a joke. This is all an illusion. This is all a simulation. All we are is light and love and electricity, and all we are is the same. I'm the same as you, the same as me, and everyone here. But as we come to earth, I think, and we are in this physical body, in this physical reality, what happens is that we forget. 100% we forget, and that we create so much separation where I feel like you're different from me and you're weird and you this and you that, and we're criticizing and judging and going on, criticizing and judging other people and avoiding people and getting triggered by people. So again, this experience for me was such a profound experience of we're all one, we're all connected, we're all in this together. This is a massive simulation. How can we have more fun? How can we have more play? How can we bring more love into everything that we do? How can we bring more love to each other, as human beings living this human experience? And so, yeah, again, it's hard to explain. I didn't see anyone or anything in particular. I'm so grateful for the women leading my ceremony. It was just me. It was not a group thing. So it was just a one-on-one ceremony. And I had women leading me with music and shamanic drums. And they really knew how to support me in every way. And it's a very self-expressed environment. So again, if you feel like singing, crying, screaming, yelling, talking, hugging, moving, standing, rolling around, it's all available to you. And again, the more that you have prepared for situations like these, or the more that you have an embodied life, like for me, it was so easy to get into my body and move and cry and laugh and be self-expressed with no fear of judgment. I think that's one big thing that I create in my coaching container with my clients is, it is about confidence and freedom, is about being in your body, is about being who you are with no fear, no holding back, and just being a full self-expression of who you are. And again, I think that's when plant medicine can really help us in experience a bigger range of what does that mean, right? Things that we wouldn't normally experience in our day-to-day, we would hold back. So I know if I'm feeling sad sometimes and I have a little cry, I'll cry for 5 minutes. I'm like, okay, that's it, done. Chop, chop, I have things to go. But when we sit with plant medicine working in our body, we really allow everything to come out. So you could be crying for maybe an hour, which would be excellent because you're just letting everything out, again, with no fear of being judged, because you have the medicine working through your mind and your body and your consciousness. And yeah, talking about consciousness, I do feel like Bufo create the experience for you as, we are consciousness. So again, I think this is just a vest. Our human body is just a vest that we get to wear here on this planet for a period of time. But other than that, we are consciousness and we are all connected. So if you heard the term collective consciousness, I also 100% believe that that's true. So this is my very personal experience. I hope this makes a little bit of sense to you. I hope these help you. Let me know if you have any questions. Reach out to me, reach out on social media, send your questions. What do you want to know? Are you feeling called to experience this? How far are you on your personal development journey or spiritual journey? I feel like this needs quite a bit of preparation, being in your body, being a sovereign, being ready to experience this craziness that I just shared. And so important that, again, you let go of any fear, trying to control everything, the anxiety, because that could really prevent you from having a beautiful experience. It could actually delay and obscure the whole process. Anything else? And again, as I was saying, having a really strong foundation of where you at in your development at the moment, but also that community sense. So again, I have people that I can talk about this freely, ask questions, share whatever's coming up for me. Integration after ceremony, any plant medicine ceremony or any immersive even retreat that you go for a few days, it can be really challenging because you have all this amazing out-of-body experience or in your body experience, and then you come back to your day-to-day life. So back to your same house, back to work or your career, back to paying bills, back to cooking, and it can feel quite like weird. I've just been through this massive transformation and I was connected to God and I was God, and now I'm back here like washing my dishes. So again, if you have been to any ceremonies, and you feeling challenged going back to your normal life, reach out. If you want to have a chat to me, I'm open for it. It can be really triggering, it can be really challenging, it can be really beautiful as well. I think after ceremony I was just in awe. I was sitting on the beach for about 3 hours thinking, wow, this is so beautiful, this is so beautiful, this is so beautiful. And I was so present to my body and my feelings and that awe and that gratitude, again, like I've never experienced before. And I think I was on the beach for 3 hours with no music, no book, nothing to entertain me. I was just there thinking, wow, this is so amazing. So that can be that, but it also can be really difficult going back to your normal life, which I have also experienced, I think, after the second time. And on my integration call with my shaman, we talked about this, and what we created was, how can I bring those magical moments to my day-to-day life, to the mundane, to washing the dishes, to doing my job in the computer, to, you know, doing the smallest things on my day-to-day. And I think that's where I'll leave the podcast today, is my invitation to you. How can you bring those moments of joy, bliss, connection, being God, being everything, the feeling of oneness, when are you doing the most mundane tasks on your day and your week? That has been on my plate, as in I am constantly discovering this, implementing this, trying to find this. So I'll leave this as an invitation for you as well. I hope you have enjoyed this podcast. As I said before, this is my own private experience. Please know that I'm no expert, not at all. I'm not a shaman. I'm just really curious about life and all the options that we have in front of us and all the things that we get to experience, including the most extreme experiences. So I feel very blessed to have that curious mind and to go and do all these beautiful things, and to even be able to share that here with you guys on the podcast. So leaving you with this, reach out if you have any questions or you wanna check in. If this made sense to you, or you thought it was interesting, or you learned something, you can share it with the people you love as well, people that might be interested in this type of topic on your spiritual team and community. So I'll leave you today, sending you my love.